Stock up, stock down, or stock stagnant? What do we think about Nico? What about that secondary ahead of the second bye week of the year? It's a Friday, Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into it, a Friday morning edition of Locked On Vols. I am Eric Kane, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. This is Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. I got Bogie Bentley on with me, the host of Talkin' Vols, and we're going to have some fun today. We are literally going to do a show-long stock report and create some conversation about it, basically going through every single position group and kind of evaluating where that position group is heading into the second bye week of the year. But yeah, I cannot believe it, but Tennessee's got 5 games left in the regular season. Yeah, they're going to have a bowl game at minimum, hopefully college football playoffs, but it just flies by, dude. I mean, over halfway through the season. Can you believe it?
I know, man. That's why I always tell everybody that rolls through my channel, drink it in, soak it in, especially the young ones that haven't experienced success. They got that taste of it in 2022, and I kind of preached the same thing then that I'm preaching now, man. We get 12 regular season games. Let's not sit and whine and cry and complain about a Florida game that maybe didn't look as pretty as we wanted. You still got all your goals in front of you. Man, I'm excited to see how this football team finishes off the back half. They say good teams get better every week. Can this offense continue to take steps and try to just get close to that elite defense and put something together? And then, we get to the postseason, nobody's going to want to be on the other side from Tennessee.
Yeah, good teams get better week by week, no doubt. I've been kind of hammering the phrase, you kind of are who you are at this point in the season. I mean, that's true too, but you can still get better and improve. Like, Tennessee's a good defensive team right now. Tennessee is not a great offensive team right now. Tennessee can improve offensively, and Tennessee can maybe turn that into a strength later on, but right now you're not a good offensive team. So let's start the conversation with the quarterback position, all right? Make it your own. I'm big on making it your own. You, Boogie, when I say stock up, stock down, stock stagnant for Nico at quarterback, you can look at it from the Florida game to the Alabama game. You can look at it from the season overall. You can look at it from the first bye week. Just your thoughts, man. If somebody said, Nico, what do you think? Up, down, stagnant.
Man, it's you said make it my own, so that's exactly what I'm going to do is make it my own. The stock for Nico has done this. It's gone up and down, and when's the time to buy? And I said it, I think it was probably after the Florida game. If you're selling your Nico stock, sell it to me because I want to buy why it's low, because guess what? That Nico stock is going to go up. I love what Heupel said after the Alabama game, man. He talked about how Nico's a great player, and he's only going to get better. I think sometimes we forget that he's a redshirt freshman, and part of that is because that stock came in super hot. You didn't want to buy that stock in the preseason because it was so high. I don't know that he could have lived up to those expectations. So, I think the future is bright for Nico. I think he's so close, and I know that doesn't matter. Horseshoes and hand grenades, right? That's what everybody says. It doesn't matter how close he is, but to bury the lead for the wide receivers before we get to him, they got to bail him out. Like, I could lump this whole thing in as just passing offense. Yeah. It's just not where it needs to be. So where's the stock right now? I'm going to say it's kind of low, but I think it's trending up. But Nico's got to go out. He's got to execute. He's got to make the plays. We've seen the arm talent, right? We've seen the throws he can make early in the season. But then again, against in Alabama, the throw to Dante Thornton, what a dime. The throw to Brazel in the end zone, what a dime. Nico's got the talent. Nico's got the capability. Maybe he was a little rattled early. Maybe he didn't have the confidence that I think he had at one point in time. But I think he is trending up. So I'm going to say, I don't even know how to answer that question.
I was going to say, I'm writing a down, an up. You said trending up, so is that an up?
I'm going to say it's trending up. Can I say trending up? Because I'm not ready to say stock up because it's not there yet. We're basing it on potential.
Make it your own, man. I put an up arrow and a little T beside it. T for trending.
There we go. I like it because we're not stagnant right now.
And again, literally make it your own. And I'm going to ignore how bad he was in the Florida game. I'm going to ignore how bad he was in the first half against Alabama. And I'm going to focus on those 2 throws, damn it. All right?
Yep.
I'm going to focus on those 2 throws.
That's what we do.
Because for as inconsistent as he was in the first half, and we'll get to receivers in a moment, how they did not help him at all. And just the whole, again, like you said, the whole passing game, for as bad as that whole process looked in the first half, man, he made some big boy throws to win you a football game. And yes, I know the defense is a reason why, and Dylan Sampson went off. I get it. 2 big boy throws to win you a football game. So I'm going to start it from that halftime of the Alabama game. Nico, sure, he missed a couple of throws in the second half, but I love the way he responded. And you're seeing those two throws right there, why everybody was just goo over him as a prospect, right, as a recruit. I mean, that's it right there, and he'll just continue to work better. And plus, that stock was just, the hype was just so much that, like, it's almost like you were never going to live up to it because it was just so much in preseason. So I'm going to go up, and knowing he is far from perfect, he's got to work through some things. He made plenty of mistakes the other night, but the way he finished that game, I love it. Give me stock up. Running backs, position groups, not necessarily just Dylan Sampson, not necessarily just, one person, but the group overall. It's been slow out of the gate the last couple weeks in conference play, but again, it's finished strong. Tennessee run game, what you got?
Stock up, man. Stock up. I think we all knew Dylan Sampson was good. Did we know he was this good? Did we know he could put the entire offense on his back and carry him? I mean, we sit here 6-1 with 5 games to go. Stock up. Dylan Sampson about to break the single season record for rushing touchdowns, and we're barely halfway through this thing.
No.
Stock up. Dylan said, what is impressive about Dylan Sampson is the workload that he is taking. You look back at last year, and you got Jalen Wright, you got Jabari Small, you got Dylan Sampson, all kind of sharing the wealth there. It's been a whole lot of Dylan Sampson, and when we're talking about the room as a whole, super impressed with Deshaun Bishop. Super impressed. Like, he's a guy that I questioned because, he sits down to make his decision where he's going to, carry on and continue his football career. And there's 3 hats on the table. And one of those hats is a little bit different than the other 2. You got Coastal Carolina. You got App State right here. Shout out to all you haters in the chat. You got App State. I'll be in Boone, North Carolina. I'll be in Boone, North Carolina this weekend, taking in the sights and the sounds of App State, Kid Brewer Stadium in the fall. The leaves changing. Oh, it's going to be epic.
Dude, I went to a game, sidebar, like my senior year, meet a bunch of buddies. Like, a couple of us, myself included, were going to play like small college ball. It was nothing like major, but we would get in the car on Saturday mornings to drive to, University of Cumberland, Carson Newman, Campbellsville, like those NAIA D2. We went to App State, which clearly none of us were going to play there. We went to App State one Saturday, and oh my God, it was so freaking cool, man. It's like you have a magazine of what fall football is supposed to look like, and that was it. It was just gorgeous, but continue, sorry.
And that's why people get mad at me. Why did you wear an App State at a Tennessee event? Guess what? I don't even know what App State's record is right now. My wife and I,
that's why.
Exactly. We just love the town of Boone, North Carolina. We love to go to App State and watch games. Man, that stadium's beautiful. Anyway, sidebar. Coastal Carolina, App State, Tennessee are the 3 hats on the table. And you're going, man, what's going on? Is this kid a walk-on? Does he really have what it takes to play in the SEC? And Deshaun Bishop said, I don't care what any of you all are saying on YouTube or the radio or the internet, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the haters and the doubters say. He came in, he went to work, he's averaging almost 7 yards a carry. Running back room, stock up, man. Dylan Sampson for Heisman, start it now, print the T-shirts. Let's get on that train. And I think if your passing game comes along, and I think if you continue to run Nico a little bit more, Dylan Sampson's only going to be more dangerous.
You're doing this the hard way. And give mostly Dylan Sampson, that offensive line credit. You're getting it done. You're finding ways in the second half, but you're doing it the hard way. Outside of a couple of plays over the last month in conference play, it has just been 4-5. It has been 6-3. It's just been hitting it. And then finally, you gash him a little bit there for a play or two in the second half. But there's just not been a whole lot there in the first half. And I'm with you, man. If that passing game comes along, you run the football to build off the pass. It can work in reverse order as well. Again, it's all about, as a defender, you have to respect one of the two, right? You have to, key a pass or a run or whatever. But if you are respecting the run, especially on play action, you're slow to get back into your pass, and it works vice versa as well. So if Tennessee's offense can fully get clicking, I think it's going to be a little bit easier for Dylan Sampson, and maybe he won't have to carry the football 26 times in a football game. But yeah, stock up completely. Dylan Sampson, I think we all knew he was going to be great. Didn't think he'd be this great, to be honest with you. I know Josh Heupel was asked that on Wednesday. He was like, I don't think anything surprised us. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think his stats, it's been very surprising this year. Knew he would be solid and good. Didn't know he'd be this good. I do want him to take less touches moving forward. I would like for them to work in Deshaun a little bit more, to work in Cam Seldon, whoever. But 144 attempts, easily leads the SEC. 838 yards, easily leads the SEC. 17 rushing touchdowns, easily leads the SEC.
Dude, that's PlayStation number, 17 touchdowns.
I mean, it's tied for technically it's tied for third in the nation, but you've got the Boise State running back and Sampson tied, and then the running back from Army, I believe, or maybe it was Navy. Both those teams are doing well, leading the nation. Anyway, stock up for sure. And I'm glad you brought up Deshaun Bishop. His yards per attempt, 6.9. I mean, dude's averaging 7 yards a pop, and he had an 18-yard run called back because of a holding call the other day. Stock up for the running backs. We're going to continue this on. Obviously, we just went through 2 position groups. We got plenty more to get into. We'll work our way to the wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line. All that's coming up as we continue on. Then we'll hit defense. All that and more here on a Friday edition of Locked On Balls. Stay tuned. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more than or less than from two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. All you have to do, again, it's a player grid, and you have to pick at least 2. You don't pick more than 5, and you're just playing the totals here, over, under, all that and more. And it's so much fun too because you can mix and match your games at the college level. You can mix and match your games, your board on the NFL level on Sunday afternoon. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you watching football with something on the line. Plus, again, 100 times your money back on PrizePicks with 4 correct picks. It's available in 30 states. It's easy to use. And plus, I'm going to give you this promo code right now. If you download that app and put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege, download the app, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege, you're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All that and more, PrizePicks.com, but also download that PrizePicks app. Hey, I want to tell you about Home Field Apparel. It's the exclusive apparel sponsor of Locked On Balls. Football season is here. We are midway through the calendar of the regular season, and you can smell that fall air just around Neyland Stadium. And if you're heading out to Neyland Stadium, not this weekend because it's a bye weekend, but for the Kentucky-Mississippi State games coming up in the next couple of weeks, be sure to be decked out in style thanks to Home Field Apparel. You can't miss Kickoff 2024 campaign. You can get all the football boxes, coaching jackets, bomber jackets, and so much more. These football boxes contain 3 never-before-seen items for the University of Tennessee that are not available anywhere else. Curated so fans can have new gear to wear all season long. The Platinum Box VIPs, you're going to receive additional exclusive items like a new hat or ringer for Platinum VIPs only, VIP koozie. The 2024 Platinum Pass guarantees 20% off early access to Tennessee football's releases throughout the 2024 season. So no more missing out on Home Field because it's sold out. Home Field is a premium collegiate apparel brand based in Indy that focuses on creating incredibly comfortable, officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs. These vintage designs for the University of Tennessee, just gorgeous. Go to homefieldapparel.com today to get started. That is homefieldapparel.com, homefieldapparel.com today to go ahead and get started. Welcome back into your Friday morning edition of Locked On Vols. I'm Eric Kane, Bogie Bentley. A little different type of crossover here today. Typically, I have Boogie on for a couple segments every Friday morning. You everydayers know that. No game coming up. So, thought we'd take a little bit past the midway point stock report on the Tennessee football team. We can make it our own. Clearly, we've already made it our own with the quarterback position. But stock up, stock down, or stock stagnant. So far, we both have stock up for Nico because I did it from halftime of the Alabama game because I can make it my own. You have stock up for Nico, trending. Little T there, trending. You and I both have stock up for Dylan Sampson in the running back room. Let's go to tight ends, Boogie. Stock up, down, or stagnant for Tennessee's tight ends?
Man, you put me on blast here because it's so hard. It's when you say make it your own, I'm like, man, I can spin this 72 different directions. I wish they would get the tight ends more involved in the passing game. But even statistically, if you look, I mean, Nico's kind of spreading the ball around, right? You look at the wide receiver room. Thornton has 12 catches. Brazel has 18 catches. Dylan Sampson from the running back position has 10. Squirrel and Brew, 20. It's kind of balanced around. Then you look at your tight ends, Kitselman 6, Holden Stace has 9 catches. Ethan Davis has 9 catches. That's kind of surprising to see. All 3 guys have touchdowns. So I think when they utilize them, they have success, but I would like to still see them continue to use them more. Man, I don't even know how to answer this question. I guess I'm just going to say stock stagnant. I didn't expect the tight end room to come in and lead this team in receptions. I think they've been efficient in run blocking. We saw some 12 personnel. That was a nice little interesting twist earlier in the year. I'm going to go stock stagnant because I don't think I can't really put stock up. I would put maybe stock up on Miles Kitselman at times. I didn't think he was going to come in and make the plays he made, even though I know you guys of AllQuest were selling it, and I'm like, what are they seeing that I don't know? And
another reason why you should join us over there at Ball
Yeah, you like that little plug for you there?
I like it. But think about it this way. So, like, I think it's kind of simple here because Tennessee technically plays 3 tight ends. Miles Kitselman, stock up. Holden Stays, stock stagnant. Ethan Davis, stock down.
There you go.
You average those out, stock stagnant. That's kind of where I'm at. I think the tight ends, and you know me, I'm a huge tight end guy when it comes to this offense because you got to have a quarterback, don't get me wrong, but the tight end's the key to this offense and the versatility. And that's why Ethan Davis hadn't been playing an awful lot, right? I think Miles Kitselman is overplaying, especially if you're down in the second half and you're going doubles. Like if your primary, scheme of operation there set on that drive is doubles, like why are you having Kitselman out there? Put Ethan Davis out there. It makes no sense. But I think Miles Kitselman's playing too many snaps. I think Ethan Davis is not playing enough snaps, but they've been a huge part of the run game. I think when opportunities come their way in the passing game, I think they've been good. I think Miles Kitselman has blocked very, very well this year. So, but overall, I do think just kind of the usage of the 3 doesn't really make sense a lot of the times. I mean, I'm not saying Miles Kitselman, needs to be benched because I'm a big fan of him. I think he's done a great job, but I do think he's playing too much. So I want to go stock stagnant there. Kind of an interesting, like tight ends last year, I would say stock up because between the two of them, they caught 9 touchdowns. Everybody's like, why don't they ever throw to the tight ends? Well, I mean, the receiving yard's never going to be there, but, McCallum Castles and Jacob Bourne had 9 touchdowns between them, and that's very productive when you split the position 50-50. So I'll go stagnant at tight ends. Wide receivers. What you got?
Stock down.
Okay.
I'm going stock down. And that's probably not fair. And people can disagree with me in the comments.
Well, it's stock down for me too, but go ahead.
I just think some of that falls on Nico, right? Mm-hmm. You got guys open. He's not putting the ball on them. You got him open. He puts the ball on them and they drop it. Going into fall or coming out of fall camp, JD Piquel was talking about how he got to take in a full practice, and he said they got 4 dudes in that wide receiver room that could start anywhere in the country. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, he made a video and said they need a dude in that wide receiver room. They need an alpha. They need somebody to step up and make plays. I was looking at numbers, looking at stats, something I thought was interesting. Make Dante Thornton that dude. 12 receptions on 14 targets and 3 touchdowns. That kind of blew my mind that he had that many receptions on that few of targets. Meanwhile, Brew, 20 catches, 33 targets. Squirrel, 20 receptions, 31 targets. Chris Brazzell, 18 receptions, 37 targets. Make Dante Thornton that dude. And I think they have opportunities to make plays. I want to see more 50-50 balls to Chris Brazzell. But that was the entire Vol football media team. That's all they did all fall camp was videos of Chris Brazzell going up and making plays. Let's see some more of that. Let him go make plays. I want Dante Thornton to be that dude. And is that fair to Brew McCoy, who's banged up? We had this conversation before you hit record, looking at drops. PFF says Squirrel White has 2, Brazzell has 2, McCoy has 2, Nimrod, Charlie Browder both have 1. Seems like they got way more drops than that to me. But is it fair to criticize Brew McCoy, who's out there giving us all for Tennessee when he's got a banged-up hand? Squirrel White got a banged-up shoulder, can't raise his arm over his head. Is that his fault? Well, if they're not healthy enough to go play, then maybe somebody else needs an opportunity. I'll let the comment section go ahead and run wild with Mike Matthews. Where's he at? So stock down.
The most impressive stat that you left out regarding Dante Thornton, 30 yards of reception. Woo.
Wow.
30 yards of reception. Again,
so they're going down the field,
yes,
and he still has 12 receptions on 14 targets. That's impressive,
yes,
man. That's impressive.
Now, Dante Thornton is on a pitch count right now. Dante Thornton has got a banged-up knee, okay? And that's why he played only, 9 snaps against Florida. That's why he played only 25 to Brazzell's 57 against Alabama. You hope this bye week's going to help him, but I'm with you, man. Give me some more. You know me, baby. I'm a Dante Thornton guy. I've been on that train since last year.
I doubled down too in the offseason. I'm like, everybody's like, oh, Boogie hyped him up, and I'm like, guess what, boys? We doubling down in 2024.
I love it. Brew McCoy. The difference in terms of the injuries, I think Squirrel last week was in my opinion was too injured to play. Okay. And I've said this a million times this week. I love the heart. I love the warrior mentality. Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't think anything less of Squirrel for trying to be out there on the field. I think less of the assistant coaches for letting it happen. That's kind of been my stance all week. Now, for Brew's playing a little bit banged up right now, but he's still being effective. I mean, the game plan obviously was Brew on the slant, Brew on the slant, Brew on the slant in early downs. Tennessee just kept going back to that. And for the most part, a couple of times Brew bailed out Nico on some high throws. He did a pretty good job in that regard. Second week in a row, man, guys are running wide open. Guys are running open, and I'm with you. It's not just like when we were talking about Nico and his stock. Some of that was on the receivers, and it's the same thing here, with the wide receivers. But I think overall, Mike Matthews, yes, get on the field. Jason Swain said this on the radio on Wednesday, and I couldn't agree more because I was kind of talking about this with somebody over the complex, just off the record in terms of just why isn't Mike Matthews playing. It's like, it's not a good look for all parties. It's not a good look for Mike Matthews to not be playing. It's not a good look for Tennessee to not be playing Mike Matthews when you're beat up at wide receiver and when you're seeing what Ryan Williams is doing at Alabama. So what's going on here? Something's got to give. Is it Matthews isn't preparing the correct way in practice or showing enough consistency? It very well could be. Is it Tennessee just doesn't like playing young guys? It very well could be. But Squirrel played a little bit as a freshman. Squirrel played a ton as a sophomore. I don't know. That needs to be fixed. And Mike Matthews is an outside receiver. That's what I had my show on yesterday, pretty much my topic. Like Mike Matthews is an outside receiver, but Chaz Nimrod is an outside receiver. And they taught Chaz Nimrod how to play the slot. You mean to tell me, now I'm not saying to be a great product in 2 weeks, the bye week and next week. I'm not saying that he's going to go out there and play 70 snaps in the slot, but you mean to tell me Mike Matthews can't go and get 10, 15 snaps in the slot in a couple weeks if he reps it every single day in practice? I think he can. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. All that to say, from what I thought coming into the year, I'm going to say stock down to this point. Stock down. Offensive line. Make it your own. I'll go first. So offensive line, make it your own. Since the preseason, I used this as an example to you yesterday when we were texting. Since the preseason, stock down. Since last week, from Florida to Alabama, stock up. I like to look at things a little half glass full, right? Give me stock up on the offensive line, making improvements, getting a little bit better from Florida to Alabama. That's an offensive line you can play behind. Give me stock up.
I'm going to go stock stagnant based on how I felt preseason. When I looked at this offensive line in the preseason, man, we were celebrating that Coop was coming back, that Spraggs was coming back, that Campbell was coming back. I thought they would be a pretty good offensive line, but then they've kind of had some highs and they've had some lows. It's easy to look at pass protection and see Nico getting killed, Nico running around, Nico scrambling, but we can also go look at a team that's leading the SEC in rushing as far as I know. I think they're still leading in rushing. So when they're leading the conference in rushing, and Dylan Sampson's doing all these things, I'm on the Dylan Sampson bandwagon. I'm dancing, singing, and then when it goes to you make sure to mention the big guys up front. You mentioned that offensive line when you talk about Dylan Sampson. It ain't just him. They're having success in the run game. I think some of the early season struggles, Lance Hurd beat up all fall camp. Lance Hurd trying to get in shape. Lance Hurd is also a young guy. So I think the future is bright for this offensive line, but I expected them to be good. That's a veteran group out there, man. So I'll just say stagnant just because that's what I expected them to be. And I think they've been pretty good with struggles at times. But I think the get better as you move forward, man. I think Lance Hurd is only going to get better. I know people were frustrated and down on him early, and that clip floating around Twitter, it looked bad. It looks bad. I think Lance Hurd's going to be a great football player for Tennessee when it's all said and done.
Lance Hurd needs to practice. John Campbell needs to practice, and that's been their two biggest issues this year. I mean, I hate to sound like a coach, and but I mean, like you and me both, we do this for a living. We've talked about this before. We go on vacations. We take a couple of days off, take a week off. You come back, it's like, oh God, like, wow, I'm not in shape to do this for a 30-minute or an hour show. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I used to, when I was in radio and I'd come back on vacation, I'm like, God, 3 hours on the radio, I am beat. I'm not in shape yet, right? Like, if you don't do something for a little bit, you're not going to be good at it. And Lance Hurd and John Campbell both missed so much practice. That's got to change. Like, it's got to. So, anyway, I think I'm not giving up on Lance Hurd. I think there's a lot of talent there. From the preseason, stock down. From Florida to Alabama, give me stock up. Again, if we're going to be critical when they play bad, praise them when they play well. And I thought it wasn't perfect, but I thought they played exceptionally well compared to the week before. Let's hit a reset here. We got we got some work to do in segment number 3.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it quick.
We're going to get to the defense. Stock up, stock down here on a Friday edition of Locked On Vols. Stay tuned, and we'll get to defensive line when we return. Hey guys, I want to tell you about my friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL fans, you can start the season off big with a return over at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook, so when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Not opening different tabs. You've got the FanDuel app open, then you got the ESPN app open, then you go back to FanDuel and it resets. No, all on the same page. Safe, secure, super easy to use, super friendly to get in there and win some big money. And all that and more is over on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Plus, we got college football, not Tennessee this weekend, but so many things you can do. Totals, spreads, props, first half lines, all that and more. Plus the Sunday slate as well. FanDuel Sportsbook, it is America's #1 sportsbook. Why? Because they're getting you started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Again, FanDuel is where you can make every moment more. FanDuel, it is America's #1 sportsbook. It is a Stock Report Friday. A little Locked On Talking Vols crossover. I'm Eric Kane, Bogie Bentley. We have gone through the offense so far, and quickly we got to do a little tempo, something Tennessee's offense hasn't done much this year. Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and let's look at the defensive line. Boogie, I'm going to save everybody some issues here, or I'm going to save everybody some time here. I'm going to give a little two stock ups, or stock stagnant because you thought they'd be this great. I guess I should let you talk.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, make it your own. Well, preseason, Tim Banks out there saying it's the best defensive line in the country. We're all in agreement. We're all talking about the defensive line. Here we sit over halfway through the season. They're still the best defensive line in the country. 59 tackles for loss through 7 games. I forget what they're giving up on the ground. Is it like 3 yards, less than 3 yards per carry?
It's not less, but it's fourth best in the country in yards per carry allowed. And then that 79 rushing yards a game, that's third in the country. They've just been phenomenal. That's
a Rodney Garner defensive line. Yeah. We can rattle off all the names: James Pierce, Josh Joseph, Omar Norman-Lott, Don Bailey, Tyree West. We can go on and on. One thing I did want to point out is something that we talked about weeks ago on my show. When guys like Jackson Moy and Jason Jenkins get limited reps, they capitalize, they make plays. Best defensive line in the country. Stock stagnant because we already knew it. You couldn't sell it because it was so high, and now you still can't sell it.
I'm going stock up simply because, we can talk about it all offseason, which we did, but I'm actually seeing it right now, and I'm like, damn. I mean, it's awesome.
If you want to change me to stock up just to make the graphic look pretty, we can do that too. It's up. It's as good as it gets on that defensive line.
Like I've got hieroglyphics going on over here on my notepad, like up, stagnant. Real quick, though, does the 15 sacks worry you? Because for me, it doesn't. QB hurries are everywhere. They're changing the way they play their game because of Tennessee's defensive line. The 59 TFLs is much more telling of the story than the 15 sacks. So the low sack total, is that worrisome for you?
Not at all, man. Not at all. And look at some of the quarterbacks that we played, right? A lot of mobile quarterbacks. And the way that they limited who I think is the best running quarterback in college football, Jalen Milroe, the way they limited him on the ground, no, I'm not worried about getting home, get sacked, because how many times have we talked about going into the game? Hey, this defensive line, it's a mobile quarterback. You got to stay in your pass rushing lanes. James Pierce hasn't really had the opportunity to pin his ears back and have a quarterback that's just going to stand back there in the pocket. Not concerned at all. About as much as I was concerned when people were talking about James Pierce not having any sacks, because now he's leading the team with 3.5 sacks. He's leading the team with 5.5 tackles for loss. And all these people in the country are looking at top 5 draft pick again. So, no, never worried about James Pierce. Still not worried about James Pierce.
Yeah, and there was one, I think it was Don Bailey, but like literally had Jalen Milroe wrapped up and like that big old boy just slung it out there and avoided a sack. It was incredible. Linebackers, I'm going to go stock stagnant. I think it stinks that Keenan Peely is going to be missed. I hate that. But I thought Arian Carter would take a step. I thought Jeremiah Thielener would take a step. Caleb Perry has taken a step, and I'm happy to see him coming along because Tennessee absolutely needs him. Need Jalen Smith to continue taking steps. Edwin Spillman, he's out now. I think it's very much up in the air in terms of if he's going to play again this year. He'd be playing right now, but compared to where that room was last year, where it was very bad, give me stock stagnant because I thought they'd take a step. They have taken a step. Not playing at like an All-American level, but I think they're playing very solid. So for me, linebackers stock stagnant.
I agree. I'll go stock stagnant. I think they had 3 really good linebackers in Keenan Peely, Arian Carter, and Jeremiah Thielander, and you were looking for that 4th guy, right, to kind of come along. And when Herring entered the portal, it's like like that 4th spot, and we know that they want to rotate 4 guys there at the linebacker position. And you've talked about it. You talked about it on my show. You know, they're going some 3 linebacker looks at times, which I like. That tells me they do have some talent in that room. I think Jalen Smith is going to be a really good linebacker for Tennessee. I think Edwin Spillman is going to be a really good linebacker for Tennessee, but they got to continue to grow. Man, Keenan Peely, he was better than I even thought. Like when he transferred in, I was excited because, you know, he was a captain at BYU, and he had, you know, this leadership qualities and a veteran guy, and he's going to come in and help this young linebacker room. And then we didn't get to see it last year because of the injury, and we were seeing it this year. And the level of physicality that he played with, you know, you hate to see him go down. I don't know if his football career is over. Maybe it is. I don't know what he decides to do with the rest of his life. But, man, I'm glad he chose Tennessee because he was fun to watch at that linebacker position. I'll agree with you. I'll go stock stagnant.
Yeah, it's not like how many times somebody gets hurt and lost for the year and like, I just hated for him. Such a great kid, does everything the right way. Well, I mean, that's Keenan Peely, but also he was Tennessee's leading tackler. So, like, he was balling out. Defensive backfield, Boogie, I mean, we're just
all the way up.
Starts with the corners, doesn't it, man? I mean, we believed that the corners would be good. I did not know that Jamal McCoy was going to be this good, dude. Holy crap, man.
Well, you know, I know we watch your content, but I know that you and Brent Hubbs and Austin Price and Matt Ray and I don't know, Grant Ramey may watch. I know Grant likes when I talk about the Grant Ramey special. Nobody at VolQuest is sitting down watching Talking Vols. I know that. But if you had tuned in and seen our film breakdown of Jamal McCoy, let me go ahead and pat Imaginary's Coach Jay on the back here. Coach Jay broke down his Oregon State film. Coach Jay's pretty dang good at breaking down players on the defensive side of the ball. He said Jamal McCoy is going to be a dude. I ain't surprised that Jamal McCoy is a dude. He said Jordan Ross is going to be a dude. Guess who's going to be a dude? Jordan Ross is going to be a dude. I'm excited. But, yeah, like Jamal McCoy, I'm saying that in good fun. Coach Jay was very high on him. I don't think anybody expected him to come in and do what he is. I mean, he is a dude.
I'll say this, man, and I'm going to take cover after this. I know we're up against it. This is going to be a little longer show. My shows are always long. I talk too much. Jeremy Pruitt loved recruiting wide receivers and quarterbacks, skill players to play in the defensive backfield. Loved it. Alontae Taylor, second-round draft pick, played a little bit of everything on the offensive side of the football in high school. Bryce Thompson. It's been years. Bryce Thompson, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He was a quarterback, wide receiver, all that type of stuff. Jamal McCoy was a wide receiver, was recruited to Oregon State as a wide receiver. They flipped him. And look at him now. A year and a half later, he's playing lockdown ball, island-type ball at corner in the Southeastern Conference. Not bad. Safeties. Will Brooks has been significantly better than we thought he would. I thought Andre Turntine's been about stock stagnant. I think Jacoby Thomas not getting as many opportunities as those two, but I think he's making the most of his opportunities. And Christian Charles, man, nobody talked about him, myself included, because of the injuries, and he's given this team a lot right now, and he's banged up big time. I think the safety position overall significantly stocked up, and I know that I'm coupling that with the defensive backfield, but I can't say enough about those guys, and Boogie, they benefit from that defensive line. Special teams, what do you got?
Stock stagnant. Because you look at what Max Gilbert was so automatic early in the season, and I know, look, the 3 field goals he's missed are all from 50 plus. So maybe I'm still going stock stagnant for what I'm going to say after this. Max Gilbert has been. I don't talk about special teams. I don't sit on my show in the preseason and say, and that was one of the number one comments I would get. Who's going to be our kicker? I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you on the first game. Max Gilbert has been a pleasant surprise. He has been really, really good kicking the football. Again, his 3 misses from over 50 yards. Punting the football, Ross has been really good at times. Man, that Alabama game pins him deep. How many times have we said, why did Josh Heupel punt? And then Ross goes out there and pins him deep. But he had a couple in the Florida game, line drive kick. I don't know if he mishit it. I don't know if he's looking for yardage. I don't know what he's doing, which turned around and set up huge punt returns. So give me stock stagnant for that reason.
I'm going to go stock stagnant because everything I heard about Max Gilbert in the in the preseason was he's got a leg, but the longer they get, obviously, this is not rocket science, the more his accuracy dips, and that's what we've seen, right? I mean, 3 pretty challenging field goals of 50 plus, and 1 barely missed the other night. And so that's kind of what we've seen. But I think he's been solid overall. Jackson Ross has been about exactly who I thought he'd be. Punt coverage against Florida was significantly stock down, but I think overall it's all been well. I mean, Tuberville's doing what he does, so stock stagnant. Last one to end on coaching. For me, it's about stocks. No, for me, it's stock up because for 3 years, and I understand the frustrations with the play calling and all that on the offense side of the football, but I'm stock up for this reason alone. Defense, they didn't rotate safeties ever, and you're literally playing 4 consistently this year. Your plan for Boo Carter this year was incredible. And look how much he's gotten better over the season. The plan to play young linebackers last year with Jean-Marie and this year with Inge, look at where you are now. For the defense alone, coaching is a stock up. I understand there's frustrations with Joey and Heupel calling plays sometimes. Ellerby, I get all that. Pope. But for that reason alone, defense, give me stock up for coaching.
I'm going stock up across the board because I think I can start that with recruiting. I don't know if I can lump that in or we're just talking about
make it your
coaching.
Own.
But I think this coaching staff does a great job evaluating talent, developing talent. We didn't see that with previous coaching staffs, right? Butch Jones is recruiting like he's on the PS5. He's like, give me the 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. He doesn't evaluate it. He has no idea what he's looking at. So I think it starts with recruiting, but then when you get into one of my biggest things, Tim Banks is a dude. I've been saying that ever since he arrived at Tennessee, and we've just seen what he can do now that he's got the guys. When he's got the horses, his defense is elite. I think it's a national championship defense. I truly believe that. Offensively, what encourages me is that I think Josh Heupel is willing to change. I think he is willing to say, hey, this didn't work, and now I'm going to incorporate something else. I got a co-host, love you, Coach Rice. He's screaming and yelling about 12 personnel saying, why are we doing this? Why are we getting away from what we do? And then a week later, he's going, we need to see more 12 personnel. I think Coach Heupel is willing to change and adapt and grow, and that's why we have seen some things to get Nico more comfortable, rolling the pocket, that type of stuff. We've seen Nico running a little bit more. I still want more. I want eight designed runs. Give me 8 designed runs every single week. Well, not against UTEP. But I think we're seeing a coach that is willing to change and adapt, and I think he truly does try to utilize his personnel to the best of their abilities and set them up for success.
Out the door, a review. Bogie Bentley, quarterback, stock up with a little T there for trending stock up. Running back up, tight end stagnant, wide receivers down, O-line stagnant. Boogie says defensive line is stagnant/up/stagnant/up. They're just really good. Linebackers stagnant, DBs are up, special teams stagnant, coaching is up. I say quarterback is up only because of those 2 throws against Alabama.
We're going to get roasted for that quarterback, just so you know, which I get roasted every week in your comments anyway. We're about to get roasted.
That's fine. I don't care. Literally, that's why I've said 100 times, make it your own, making it your own. And I have said 1,000,000 times since halftime of Alabama, the way he finished, stock up. Running back stock up, tight end stock stagnant, wide receivers down, offensive line from Florida, I'll get roasted for this one, from Florida to Alabama, stock up, make it your own. Defensive line stock up, just because I'm seeing it, it's incredible. Linebacker stagnant, DBs up, special teams stagnant, and coaching up because I like the way they rotate guys on the defense side of the football. That was fun. And again, the biggest part, we're at 37 minutes. My bosses at Locked On are going to be like, dude, what is your problem? But the funnest part about it, it's cool because, again, we can create all these conversations off these positions, and we can make a point here, a point here, a point here. It's just fun. There's a number of ways you can look at it, but when you make it your own, you gotta stand on a hill and die on it, right? So that's kind of what we did here.
Opens up conversation, and that's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. It's conversation. You have opinions, I have opinions, the comment section have opinions. It's a beautiful thing, man. We all love Tennessee football here, and we're here to talk about it.
6-1, 3-1 in SEC play. Pretty daggone good ball club with a lot of room to get better. Boy, a lot of room to get better. And Tennessee will be against Kentucky, not this weekend, next weekend, following the second open date. What do you guys got coming up on the channel? It's Friday morning. I know you guys usually do some things on Friday, so when we're done here, go over to your channel, right?
There'll be a video or something probably. I'm going to Boone, North Carolina to take in the App State Mountaineers going up against Georgia State. So we're going to do like a mid-season review tonight. We did it Wednesday night, actually, is when we did it. Wednesday night, we did that. So you can go back and give that a watch. We'll have videos popping up on the channel throughout the week, and then we'll be back Monday morning for Locked On Talking Vols with Eric Kane of Locked On Vols and VolQuest.com.
I was giving you crap the other day when I joined your show Wednesday night because you started the show off and your mic was muted, and I rolled my eyes and shook my head. And you saw that and you asked me about that when I joined you, and I was just giving you crap. But then I got off the show and I was like, all he had to do is be like, at least I do live shows.
This is a great live show top, man. This should have been a live stream. Get the interaction from the chat. So I'm just going to steal it and rip it off. And guess what? We're going to do it on Wednesday, and I'm just going to pretend that it was my idea and you ripped it off for this show.
Do it. All right. That's Bogie Bentley. Go subscribe to his channel. You probably already have, because if you're a Tennessee fan, you probably, and on YouTube, you probably subscribe to it because he's got like 50,000 subscribers. Go subscribe if you haven't already. Check out their stuff. Awesome stuff. And of course, we'll be back Monday morning right here on Locked On Vols to get you set for Tennessee and Kentucky. Does the playoff picture change any over the weekend? We'll discuss Monday morning. This is Locked On Vols.